넷째 주 뉴스포인트 하이라이트입니다. 미시간 대학에서 제미 한인과학 기술협회가 수학과학 경시대회를 열었습니다. 디트로이트 한인문화회관에서 주 시카고 총영사관이 순회 민원봉사 업무를 실시했습니다. 상반기 순회 영사 업무가 한인문화회관에서 실시됐습니다. 이재승 기자가 전해드립니다.
주 시카고 총영사관이 13일 디트로이트 순회 영사 업무를 디트로이트 한인문화회관에서 실시했습니다. 1년에 2차에 실시되는 이번 업무에는 여권, 위임장, 비자 업무를 필요로 하는 메트로 디트로이트, 오하이오 톨레도 등 인접지역 교민 150여 명이 한인문화회관을 찾았습니다. 이번 업무는 여권 관련 민원 서류 작성, 여권 사진 촬영실, 민원 접수실 등으로 나뉘어 처리되었는데 교민들의 편의를 위해 미리 시간대별로 예약을 하여 진행하여 민원을 넣는 교민들의 큰 불편함은 없었습니다. 오하이오 톨리도에서 1시간 반 정도 걸려 이번 영사 업무를 찾았다는 남선영 씨는 인터넷을 통해 이번 순회 업무를 알게 되었고 톨리도에서 시카고까지 가는 것보다 가까운 디트로이트에서 일을 처리할 수 있어서 기쁘다고 전했습니다. 이상원 주 시카고 영사는 반기별로 열리는 순회 영사 업무는 시카고 총영사관이 관리하는 총 13개 주를 대상으로 민원 수요 조사를 한 후 일정을 조정한다며 추후 디트로이트 순회 영사 업무 서비스는 하반기 중 알려드리겠다고 전했습니다. 이상으로 미시간 코리안 타임스 이재승입니다.
제미 한인과학기술자협회 미시간지부에서 13일 토요일 수학과학 경시대회를 미시간 대학에서 개최했습니다. 제미 한인과학기술자협회는 1971년에 창설돼 41대 정영민 박사가 회장으로 현재 미국에서 38개 챕터로 총 4,000명의 회원이 등록되어 있고 이 협회는 회원들 간의 기술 교류, 전문적 네트워킹, 한미 간 기술 협력, 직업 교육, 커뮤니티 참여 등을 목적으로 하고 회원들에게 장학금 수여와 각종 컨퍼런스와 멘토링 등으로 회원들 간의 관계를 탄탄히 하고 있습니다. 이번 경시대회는 해마다 전국적으로 동시에 열리는 대회이지만 미시간에서는 지부 사정으로 지난 몇 년간 열지 못하다가 올해 다시 개최하게 되었습니다. 온라인과 당일 등록으로 이 경시대회에 참가한 인원은 약 30명이었으며 각 학년별로 1등에서 3등까지 시상했고 이날 참가한 모든 학생들에게 참가상을 주었습니다. 시험에 참가한 학생들은 난이도가 높은 문제가 나와서 대체적으로 어려웠다고 말했지만 좋은 경험을 했다고 입을 모았습니다. 또한 학생들이 시험을 치고 있는 동안 주최 측은 학부모들에게 미시간 대학 입학정보 세미나를 했는데 재학생들이 자신들의 경험담을 들려주고 학부모들의 질문에 답하는 시간도 가졌습니다. 이 대회는 인종의 구분 없이 모든 학생들에게 오픈이 되어 있기 때문에 제미 한인과학기술자협회에서 주최하는 대회이지만 한인 학생들보다 중국계 학생들이 대거 참여하였다는 게 특기할 만한 점입니다. 벤자민 이 박사는 캘리포니아의 경우 한 학년에 300명의 학생이 응시할 정도로 관심이 높은 대회라면서 많은 학생들의 참여를 당부하였습니다. 대회 결과는 미시간 코리안 타임스 웹사이트 mktimes.com으로 가시면 확인할 수 있습니다.
Hello and welcome. My name is Julia. I'm today's MC. I'm also the events organizer for the KC Michigan chapter. And on behalf of KC, I'd like to welcome you all to the 2013 Mathematics and Science competition. And thank you for your participation, especially to the kids. I'm sure you're all excited to be here today to take the math exam. Yeah. So we actually have a really fun day planned for you guys. After the exam, we have refreshments for you. We also have a magic show that I think you guys will really like. And of course, the awards ceremony.
I'm not a good speaker, but it's my honor having this opportunity to give a talk about the science, and technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I think I was invited because I was the president of the Mission Association of Korean Schools, and also I have been a member of KC for 13 and 14 years. And then I have a good relation with the KC, but I'm really happy to have this opportunity having math and science competition in Michigan, especially. Okay, as a president of Michigan Korean Schools, I mean, this is a very common question. You guys know all the answers, right? Who speaks 2 languages? Are called? Just tell me. Yes, that's an easy question, right? 3 languages? Okay, well, good. And what about only 1 language? What's that? Americans. Right? So that I think in this room, most of you guys are speaking at least 2 languages. Am I right? Most of you. Yes? Okay, good to hear that. And then next question is, what is the common language? Chinese, English, Spanish. The answer will be mathematics, right? So you guys all know the mathematics. Okay.
If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have this event, and hopefully your children will be, even though it's math test on a Saturday, hopefully they'll enjoy it. So this session is the college information parent session, and we thought it might be helpful for you to be able to ask any questions about the whole college application process. So we're going to go over just the basics of college admissions, and then financial aid, and then we'll follow up with the student panel who these wonderful students from the University of Michigan have gone through the college application process within the past 3 years. So originally, I intended to have someone from the University of Michigan admissions office and the financial aid office come and speak, but there's a spring welcome day where all the students who have been accepted to Michigan come this weekend. So unfortunately they weren't able to come, but what they were able to do is provide us with these packets, and I sat with them and went through each of the packets. They were able to tell me what the information is on here. So I won't be able to go into too much detail, but what I will be able to do is at least go over the material with you so you know what each of these things are. And then if you do have further questions, I did get the business card of the admissions officer who actually goes through the student applications. She was very helpful. I met with her for about an hour, so I can also provide you with that as well. So we'll start off with this blue packet here. Okay. So it's this is basically general information about Michigan and a little bit about the admissions process. Okay. So if you open it up, so just on the first page, this is just basic information, an overview about Michigan, more of the very marketing type information. They have some statistics here, top rankings of Michigan. If you flip through here, there's just basic information about Michigan. And other statistics here as well. So, and also then if you go to the middle section, they have all the different majors. So there are different colleges as well that your child can apply. And I think some of this information in general will be applicable to other colleges as well. But since you're here at Michigan, you're able to get this. So if you flip to page 12, you'll see the list of schools here. And so you have different schools that undergraduates can apply to. Some of these professional colleges also have undergraduate programs that they can apply to. There's certain exceptions, like the business school, the students will have to apply, I think, after the first year, but those are some examples. So anyway, so there's the other information here, but if you look through the inside packet here, okay, which is actually at the back of this, there are also some statistics. But there are further statistics. There's a visitor's guide. I'm kind of going through this kind of briefly because this is just very, very general information. This part is the visitor's guide. So if you do come to the University of Michigan, or even after the competition is over at 5 p.m., if you want to stroll around, this is a visitor's guide that you can visit different places. The weather's not too cold, so it's possible. This packet here is about Michigan communities. I think this is about where students can actually end up living. They have different themed dorms. So when they do come here, they have a certain particular interest. They can live in dorms with other students as well. And then this little card just has a bunch of websites that you can also visit. Okay. So I kind of went over this rather quickly because this is just very general information. But I did want to move on to one other part of it. You should have also gotten this white sheet of paper. Okay, it's a very clinical, not very flashy sheet of paper. This is so when first years actually apply, when high school students apply to the University of Michigan, the admissions officers have a score sheet. So this is the freshman application rating sheet. So this is also public information. This is on the University of Michigan Financial Aid website. You do have to click through a few menus to get to this, but this is an overall general review. This is the admissions officers will get the student's application and then fill this out to rate how they are. So this gives you an idea of what they're looking for in the students. Actually, let me just ask, how many here have children in high school? A few. How many in middle school? Okay. How many in elementary school? Okay. So I just wanted to, the registration numbers are a little bit more heavy on the elementary and middle school, but it's still something to think about because I think once you get to middle school, there are a lot of activities students can participate in. So if you just look at this, you'll see that the first block is the secondary school academic performance. So academics is important. There's a GPA. The admissions officer also did say that based upon what school and what area of Michigan you're from, they do account for that. So if your school has a very, very challenging curriculum, they do account for that in looking at the GPA. If the school has a curriculum that's varied, they also keep that in mind as well. There's also the test scores, ACT, SAT. This is basically a sheet that allows you to compare different schools and their costs. So every college, when you go to their website, they should provide you how much the tuition is, how much room and board is, living costs, and all these things. And this is just a guideline for you to then compare the different schools once your student is accepted into a certain program. Okay, so this just gives you an idea. Well, what things can I compare? This should be helpful. Now at the University of Michigan. So they have different amounts of support. They have grants, scholarships, government loans, government scholarships, and they also have private scholarships. This green sheet here gives you some of the deadlines of basic guidelines of a timeline of what you should be doing. So one of the big things is to apply for FAFSA, which is the government-supported financial aid. And as the panel will tell you that you should definitely abide by these deadlines. And some of these things you should do very early. But these are just some of the steps that you should go through. It's a guideline. And then this beige sheet here, these are a list of private scholarships. Okay, so if your child fits into one of these different categories, you can also apply for private financial aid as well. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So I wish I could join the panel, but it's been a while since I've been in college, so I think it's better off for the younger students to talk about their experience. So this next part of it will just be a Q&A. We'll have each student introduce themselves, their name, what year they are, what they're studying. Maybe you can also explain where you're from, and then whether you were born in the U.S. or if you're born outside the U.S. when you came to the U.S. Because that may help just provide some background as well. And then we'll just open up to questions and answers. Let's start with Eugene.
Okay. So hi, I'm Eugene Kim. I was born in the U.S. I was born and raised in Maryland, Silver Spring, Maryland, about like half an hour from Washington, D.C. I'm a sophomore right now, second year student, majoring in chemical engineering, minoring in biochemistry. So I guess like my advice. So my advice for I guess high schoolers or even like middle schoolers is to get involved. I know more recently, like so grades are important too, but like extracurriculars are like really important as well. So when I was in high school, in the beginning of high school, I didn't really get that involved. I was kind of like, so my dad immigrated here from Korea, so like his mindset was kind of like test scores and grades are like the most important. But after I started like applying or not, before I started applying for schools, I realized how important it was to be involved, whether it's service or sports. I was really involved in a service organization called Keego, so that's like a high school service organization, and now I'm part of like the college version of that club. I was also involved in volleyball, like during high school. So just being a well-rounded student just helps colleges figure out if you adapt well to the school. So yes.
Hi, my name is Joseph, and I'm currently a freshman at the College of Engineering. One piece of advice. I guess one piece of advice I would give is if you're currently thinking of engineering for your students or somewhere in that field, I would highly encourage you to introduce them to programming early in their, at least in middle school or in high school. I came into the University of Michigan taking classes at WCCU and programming because our high school specifically didn't offer programs in computer science. And once coming into College of Engineering, programming is a major issue in all fields of engineering, as many of you will know. I was actually born in Ann Arbor, but I went to Korea because of my dad's job, and I stayed there for around 5 years. Came back in the middle of 8th grade, and so I spent my high school here in Ann Arbor at Pioneer High School. One more piece of advice I would give is when you're filling out your FAFSA forms is to fill them out as soon as possible. So as soon as you fill out your tax returns, you should also be doing your FAFSA forms to get them together, because as the earlier you send your FAFSA forms, the more competitive you are in receiving scholarships, because what organizations do is they receive applications on a come-by basis. So the earlier you send them in, the higher chances you have of getting more money, and you get to save more money, which is great. So yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Anis, and I'm a freshman in College of Literature, Science, and Arts. I'm currently studying cellular molecular biology, and I'm minoring in Spanish. And I'm from Troy, Michigan, but I was born in Korea, but I immigrated to New Zealand and lived there for 6-7 years. And I started my high school here and graduated at Troy High School. And one piece of advice would be, in high school, it's better to take AP classes because it really pays off if you come to college and you get to skip classes and take the next level course, which is really beneficial if you're thinking of graduating early or taking more classes towards your concentration. Yeah. All right.
Okay, excellent. So we'll just open up to questions.
I have a question. So when the students are in high school, you said it's better to involve with other sports or the other clubs and stuff like that. So you have to achieve some goal, maybe for the competition or anything, or you're just involved with those activities.
Well, it's good to be involved in general, but a lot of the times it's more about what you do in those clubs, whether you're making an impact or whether you take on a leadership position in those clubs. So that's also really important.
Also, when you are starting the college application process, you have to write essays for each of the colleges. And without experience, it's kind of hard to write these essays. I know many students who've come in and have really high GPAs and SAT scores, but when it comes to writing essays, they didn't have anything to write about because they weren't involved in anything. So going out into clubs and having these leadership positions
So you have
allows
stories to tell.
Yeah, you have a story to tell to the college, and you have a more overall. You can express yourself more clearly that way.
I think it's good if you do if you go over to different countries during summer, because summer is a really good time to do gain more experience. When I was in high school, I did summer school, and I went to marching band camps because I was a part of a marching band, and I went to Kentucky for a mission trip, so that gained me a lot of experience with different places.
Yeah, one more thing I have to add is, so sometimes it's not enough to just be like, so if you're in a club, it's sometimes not enough to be a general member. So what colleges want to see is that you stand out from like your competitors. So they want to see that you were like president or like vice president of like certain clubs, or just like other positions on the board. Or like, I guess if you're playing an instrument, like a lot of people play instruments, so I guess you need to excel more on like in those instruments. Like I know, like from personal experience, I have like friends who like are all like around the same age as me, and I actually know a lot of people who had like 4.0 GPAs and like 2400 SAT scores, but some of them didn't really get involved that much. So yeah, they did get into really good schools, but some of them didn't really get into the schools that they wanted. I'm not gonna say like for sure like that's the reason why, but you can definitely have like a 3.7 GPA and like maybe like 2200 SAT score and still get into really good schools if colleges see that you took some of that time to be involved in whatever it may be, whether it be service or sports or playing an instrument or whatever.
Thank you.
So in high school, you have lots of activities, clubs and AP courses. So how do you or when do you get started to efficiently manage your time? So time management.
So I mean, I would say like you should encourage your children to start in middle school, because like they need to start getting into that mindset of being involved. So I just say as soon as possible. Like I feel like I started a little bit late. I feel like I started like sophomore year of high school, and like you really want to start in the beginning, because then you can like start off like your first year, then get more involved the next year, and then maybe like get like a leadership position or whatever it may be. So just encouragement for your children early on, I think is really important.
What do you think is how important about competitions or tests, especially those academic stuff like math tests? How important like college
They are actually a separate section in the so what the University of Michigan does, it uses a Common App, which is a website that has a general outline of an application, and hundreds of schools use this Common App. And on that section, there's a place where you can use honors and awards. And so this is actually one of the things that you can put under that. When students usually write the Common App, they don't have honors or awards, because usually they don't go out into these competitions. They just spend their time in like clubs. So this is actually one of the ways to make your student more competitive, because not many people will be coming out into these tests and taking them. Because students generally don't like taking tests outside of school. But yeah, this will probably make your student more competitive once you get into the application process.
I can also add, even if you don't win anything out of like these competitions, I think that being a part of these competitions is still really important. So let's say they get into college and they take really like intense math courses or science courses. I think it like builds really good training. So I didn't participate in the NMSC like in particular, but my dad actually had me go into different math competitions, and I didn't win every time, you know. But I think it trained me well, like in terms of like math skills, and I don't know, like it's just like about repetition and just a lot of practice. So
you don't think if you don't win anything, can you still write on those portions or not?
Generally, you don't want to.
You can.
Yeah, I mean, you can write that you participated in it, but officers usually want to see that you achieve something through the test.
You said in the club or in a music team there should be a leadership. You think which kind of position you said the student have a leadership?
can you repeat the question?
I mean, which kind of position you pick in the club or for the sports team or a music team?
I mean, I feel like any position, like so ideally, I guess you'd want like.
How to understand this leadership?
Well, okay, so I mean, first step is to like get involved in the club. Like most clubs usually actually elect who they want as like president, vice president, secretary. So you want to be involved in the club. You want to have like good relationships with people. And then, I mean, like if they want to run for something, they can. You're not always going to be the president of everything, but I mean, I think having a leadership position shows that you're taking the initiative to be more involved in the club, and it shows that you did something outside of school.
Also, like getting to the position of president.
For example, if you're in a football team or a soccer team, which kind of position you think is your leadership?
A soccer team? I
Yes,
would generally not know this.
or a football team, popular in USA, what by the public for the sports, for the footballs. Which kind of position can be their leadership?
So generally in athletics, you want to become known by your peers. So in athletics especially, you have to be more, of a team player, and you have to have all the kids around you respect you, and that's how you get into leadership positions in sports especially. But generally, sports is, although it's very important that you keep a good healthy body, I don't think it's as big of as a, I guess, competitive thing for the application process, because I know many people who have gone through soccer programs and football programs, but they're not necessarily more competitive because it takes time away from other important things like academics and other social clubs. So especially if you're going to sports, I say do it with caution, because you don't want to focus all your time, because your career might not be in sports. You want to focus on what your child may be able to do after college. So I guess sports is a good thing, but I would say do it in moderation.
When I say like extracurriculars and sports and all that, that's assuming that your children can find a good balance between that and school. Because it's not good to be really involved and have like not like good grades, you know. So that assuming they find a good balance, it'd be good to like do well in school and do well in extracurriculars. But I think what you're asking is like maybe what position in like
yes, you say leadership. How to let the supervisor know, oh, you are in leadership.
Okay, so it's not really about the positions that you play in the specific sport, but usually so like when I was on my volleyball team in high school, it was usually like the captains were usually picked out from like from the team. So they would be usually the best players on the team. So like I guess being captain of a sports team.
Team captain.
Right, yeah. So like we had like 3 captains each year. So it's just pretty much based on how good you are. So you want to just, I guess.
Also,
in high school.
Yeah.
Also, when you write your comment app, there's a section that shows that has you write on leadership positions. So in that section, you can explain exactly what you did as a leader on that sports club. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Could the panel just maybe talk about if you did do sports in high school, what it was, and how involved you were?
Yeah.
Okay, each person.
I'll go first. Okay, so again, I was on the volleyball team. I was never really captain because I started really late, but we did actually win like the Maryland state championships. So I did write about that. I don't know how much that actually helped in my application, but I mean that's all I really had to say. Like I wasn't captain, but we won state competition.
I was on the JV tennis team, and one thing, I had an opportunity to get into varsity, but I declined. One thing was because varsity team takes a lot of time out of your out of other times that you need, and especially I was doing music at the same time, so I wanted to focus more on music because that's where my talents were. So especially for JV, I was able to go as far as captain on JV as well, and I guess like varsity and JV, I don't think admissions officers really care like about the difference anymore. And if you can do something better somewhere else, I encourage you to do that. But if you can do well in sports, you should do that.
JV is
junior varsity. So like there's usually varsity and JV. So in any one, you should usually want to achieve a leadership position. Yeah.
I am not a sports person, but I was in track and field when I was back in high school. I was a JV short track runner, but I only did that for like 2 years because when I was a junior, I had like a time conflict with my work time because they usually take time off after school, like 2 to 3 hours. But it collided with my work time, so I didn't do track and field when I was in junior. But I also did music. I was in marching band and concert band. So during like fall semester, I was in marching band, marching in like football games, and we went to Florida to like perform at Disneyland, Disney World. And I also quit that when I was a junior because of the time of conflict at the same time.
What was your job? What was your work?
Oh, I worked at a learning center in called Kumon. Yeah, I was a tutor there.
Is it volunteer or job?
Oh, it's a paid job.
Paid job.
Does that help? I heard that if you have a paid job, that will help your application. Is that true? So how do you handle that?
So also on the common application, there's a section for work, where you write whether or not you did work, like paid working or volunteer working. Usually, if you've done paid working, then of course they'll consider that because paid working takes a large chunk of your time out, and admissions officers will see if through doing that you were able to achieve higher grades and be able to do other leadership positions. So definitely, if your child can pull off doing work and pull off getting really high grades in leadership positions, that would be ideal. But if you don't think that your child can do that, then I would encourage you not to do that. Because besides paid working, there's also volunteer work that students can do. And there are plenty of other clubs that offer volunteering jobs. Especially, I was actually in NHS, and I was also president for that, which is an actually really big volunteer organization within. There should be NHS for each high school. What that organization does is offer volunteering work for students, and I guess officers usually want to see if you have done volunteer work. It's usually a requirement in most of the colleges.
That's the honor society.
National Honor Society.
National Honor Society.
So I guess from my experience, so I did a lot of volunteering work through my service organization in high school, but I also did have a paid job. So I'm actually am a part-time, well, like right now I'm a part-time employee, but in the summer I'll be a full-time employee at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So that's back in Maryland, like back in my hometown. And what it is just like an engineering research facility. At first I had to volunteer there because they had to train me and I had to get used to like the work environment. But after that, I did get paid like the summer after that, and this summer is going to be my 4th year there. So I think another thing that I'd like to add is colleges like to see commitment in what you do. So it's not really enough to just bounce around different clubs just to try it out. Like that, it's good initially, but once you get to the end of your high school career, you kind of want to set the club that you really want to be involved in. So I was involved in 2 clubs. It's not a lot, but I feel like I did a lot in those 2 clubs. And I guess I showed a lot of commitment by volunteers organization. I probably did about 100 hours of volunteering each year. And in terms of working, in the summer I work 45 plus hours in each week. So I think commitment is just another big thing that colleges.
There was one question in the back.
Yeah, I heard that Joseph said you suggest people, if the children need to be engineer, you better take the computer program early.
Right.
It's provided by the university or the high school?
So computer programming, once you get into college, especially in College of Engineering, you're required to take Engineering 101, which is programming in C++ and MATLAB. But in my high school, in my experience, Poin High School, there wasn't a class in programming. There was a class called Web Page Design where you made web pages. I didn't really like that. So what I did was I went to the Washington Community College here, and I took a class in Intro to C++. If your child likes that, you can go out to higher level courses. I took that my summer of junior year. So I was able to receive credit for that, and as well as put it on my application that I was taking college credit courses at that time.
I have got some advertisement from college about this summer program, and sometimes EMU they provide some like bluebird design, some summer program like that. So have you ever go to that? Is that also credit to?
I know that many colleges have summer programs. I know many of the Ivy programs actually offer summer programs at their schools. And I highly encourage you to send your students if you have the time to do that, because what they do is they teach them academics and sometimes offer college credit courses that students can receive and transfer to the colleges. So I don't know, especially for EMU, but taking credit classes during the summer is definitely a good idea.
How early? So my son is in 7th grade, so it's
Right.
like 9th grade.
9th grade, I wouldn't recommend, because I would go for 10th grade. Summer of 10th grade is a good way to start, good time to start sending your student to college. Of course, there are many bright students, and if you know your student is a bright student, then you should definitely send them in early. Because I know a friend who's actually a freshman right now, but she can graduate in 2 years because she's received so many credits from these colleges. And she's actually been going to these credit classes since she was a freshman, summer of her freshman year. So there are students like that, but there are also students who are not like that. So I encourage you to know which side your student is on first before you send them.
I'm sorry, if you don't mind, I can talk more about like my my experience with programming. So I'm also an engineer. I'm a chemical engineer, so I don't really do that much with programming, but one required class for all engineers is what he was talking about, Engineering 101, which is like programming. I actually had experience with programming in high school because I knew I wanted to do engineering, so I thought that'd be a good idea to get into programming. And I actually saw a major difference in my performance with people who have never programmed before. Like the school teaches you like not based on how much experience you have, but just like kind of pretending like no one's taken programming, no one has experience. But you do see the difference because I've had 2 years of experience programming, whereas other people, they started that year, and like you only have a few weeks before your exam. So yeah, I feel like if your child knows they want to do engineering or they want to come here to do engineering, then I think programming is something that would be of really good use in high school.
How many AP class normally we like to see you took, either for junior year or for even your senior year?
So
there's also this AC class concept. Do they look into AC class too?
AC classes aren't generally considered AP, but usually most students take AC because they provide more challenges and you learn more in AC classes. In my experience, I took a Spanish like regular level class, and I hated it because I wasn't really learning anything. So I went to an upper level AC class to learn more. Generally, you would want to take more AP classes. It's highly recommended that you do, because not only will you be able to take credits from them, students will begin to understand the workload that they'll be receiving in college as well. So it's kind of like an eye-opening experience for them. But it's possible to take 6 AP classes in like your junior year. It's possible, but they won't have a life. As he was talking about, time management is like the biggest key, and especially as a high school student, 6 AP courses, as well as doing music, sports, and other organizations, that's a lot of time out of your week. So I encourage you to find a good balance between those, and especially if you're going into engineering, you should focus more on the math and science AP courses. But also, some people who take like AP art history, AP language, AP languages, those are generally for receiving credit from the college.
So what are the minimum number? Do they have something, you need to take 4 of AP?
A minimum number?
Yeah. There's no minimum number. There's plenty of people at this school that have never taken AP before, and that's fine. But so I do agree with what Joseph was saying about like all the APs, but in my opinion, like just a personal disclaimer, like more APs isn't always a good thing. Because what you want is you want to get like something out of your APs. You want to learn the material. Because I know a lot of people who took like 10 plus like AP exams, and then when they get here and then take higher level classes, it's more harder for them because AP tests are like easier than the classes you would take at a regular college. So I feel like sometimes like if you kind of like blow it off or just like study last minute and then end up getting maybe like a 4 or 5 and do end up getting passed out of that exam, I feel like some people don't really learn it like that properly. So okay, so my experience with it was, okay, so I took like 11 APs in high school. Yeah, but like I kind of regret it though, because like some of them were really important for like what I wanted to do like for chemical engineering. So I took chemistry, calculus. I took some other stuff that I didn't really need, like world history and like other classes like that. But I did take statistics. But so for that class, I did regret taking that class because I didn't really have time to put all my effort into it, and I didn't really learn the material that properly. So for statistics in specific, if you want to take like a higher level statistics, it's just like really hard to compete with people who took their first level statistics class here, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's not always the more APs the better. You need to learn the material well. You need to find a good balance between that and like your regular.
How do they consider ACs? Like AC, from 9th grade students have ACs, but 12 senior also have AC. Do they really care about 9th grade AC?
So high schools have a distinction between regular classes and AC classes.
Okay.
So admissions officers will be looking at your transcripts and seeing which kinds of classes you were taking. So it's definitely better that you take AC classes because also AC classes usually provide a boost for your GPA.
Oh, they do count AC as a boost, okay.
Oh, but once you get into, for high school they provide a boost, but once you get into U of M, they will recalculate your GPA according to their standards. So AC might not have the boost that they had before.
So what is AC? I know AP. What is AC?
AC is just an accelerated course. So it's more work than a regular course, but less work than AP.
Honors.
Yeah, it's an honors. AC honors is the same thing. Yeah.
So generally, when do you know where do you go? So your academic goals, so engineering, LSA, and other majors. So when you know clearly,
yes, so which grade you
your
know
future.
It's different.
So
for
I know myself, so very early. So from middle school or elementary school, for my daughters, they don't know. So when do you know clearly your future?
When do you know your career? It's a really hard question because it's different for everyone.
So your interest or your parents' pressure.
So yeah, it's pretty much different for everyone. Like for me personally, I've wanted to do chemical engineering since like probably like 8th or 9th grade, so pretty early on. And like I'm doing it right now, and I like it. It's hard, but I do like it. But I know like juniors in college right now who still don't know what they want to do, still haven't declared their major, which is fine. And I feel like maybe like on average, people usually find out what they want to do like freshman, sophomore year, but I don't know if that answers.
Pressuring your student to discover a major is an effective way, freshman and sophomore year. I feel like they do need that push to know like what they will be doing beyond college, because I feel like sometimes students become enclosed in their high school years and just don't think beyond what they're gonna do. For me, I switched a lot. First, I was thinking about doing architecture, and then I thought about doing medical school, but now I'm decided on doing mechanical engineering because my dad was actually a professor in mechanical engineering, so I thought I would follow his footsteps. But it's a good idea to pressure your students in the beginning, but I also encourage you to provide resources for them later so that they understand and they choose what they want to do. Because if you, of course, each parent has their idea of what their students want to do. But once they reach that point and the student realizes that they don't want to do it, they'll have to go through everything again and then learn all the material that they actually want to do. So it's a lot of time wasted. So you don't want that for your child. So I would highly encourage you to provide resources like junior and senior year to make them choose what they really want to do.
Could we hear from the arts and science major? Just career, you know, if you chosen a major, or what you got interested in.
Okay, so there, actually the College of Literature, Science, and Arts is really broad. From there, they have languages, math, sciences. So basically, it's like the biggest department in U of M. I'm personally in science field. I'm thinking of doing PA, and if you come here, there are a lot of like school organizations, career-specific organization. So I'm in pre-PA club because I am interested in physician's assistant, and they give you resources about like different PA schools, like different PA school after undergraduate school, and you learn. Even though you come here undecided, but you know you're like under like LSA. If you get involved in school organizations, you get a lot of resources. So you can kind of think towards geared towards like your concentration, your career through those clubs. And, yeah.
I think the take-home point about like all this, about like kind of finding what you want to do, like helping your students find what they want to do, is kind of just be more like involved in like the choices that they make. Maybe like help them like do like math or something, or like bring them to competitions like this so they can figure out if this is something that they like. But I mean, ultimately it's kind of their decision. It's kind of like what they're interested in. But I would say just be involved. So my personal experience, my dad really couldn't be involved because he was a pastor. So it really had nothing to do with what I wanted to do. It was like, luckily for me, it was just something that kind of came up, and it was something I was really interested in. But I know there's some parents here that are probably engineers themselves, or like math science majors themselves. So maybe kind of enforcing that on your kids. If that's not something they like, I don't think you should force it, but just being involved in their life, I think it's really important.
So how about the summer research experience? Does that help, or do you have a section you can write that about in your common application or anywhere?
Yeah, so that can probably go into like either research experience or work experience, depending on if you get paid or not. So like I said, so I had research experience at the National Institute of Science and Technology. So I wrote about my project that I worked on for like the 3 summers that I worked there. So I think it does help because it shows colleges that you are motivated to work on like academic stuff outside of school.
If you are currently either professors or postdocs, I encourage you to have your students participate in one of your studies, because I was able to work with my dad in a paper for fractals. It was a theme on fractals, and what we did was we would calculate the statistics of the distances between islands. And although I did not do a lot of the math, I did participate in the studies. And that paper was actually published in a journal. That kind of thing is actually a major way to differentiate between other people, because usually students don't have papers published. So it's generally a really big step for a student to create a more competitive student if you have a child that has written a paper. So I think research is generally a very good idea if you're going to the College of Engineering or some kind of engineering at other schools.
Does that, for example, if your name or your dad's name on the same paper, does that discount you?
I don't think so. I mean, in any aspect, it'll help, whether it's the experience itself or like what you can write about in your essays. And because like I know I wrote about, like my project was like a team project, so that is something you can write on your essay. Like it helps for anything, whether it's an essay, your research experience, work experience.
So for programming language, there is scientific computing, there is some web designing. So do you choose language programming related to your AP courses or not related?
So for AP courses, there's only one course that teaches programming, which is Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
Java.
computer science A, which is in Java.
Ah.
So Java is a very good language for web page design and all internet related. Generally, I would recommend C++ or C because that's where most of the basic of programming language comes from, and also exposing your children to like Maple or MATLAB in MATLAB is also important because once you come to engineering, it's mostly all MATLAB if you're not doing computer science. So yeah, I would recommend that students do C++ first.
Well, I mean, I think exposure would be the most important. So I started off with Java in high school, but just learning Java has helped me code in C++, MATLAB, Maple, Aspen, like a bunch of different like programs. So I think just having your kids like dabble with like programming or just like software in general, I think that should help them.
Yeah, once you learn one programming language, it's easier to learn other languages because most of them are very similar to each other. I learned C++ in the beginning, and now I'm able to program in Python and MATLAB because the languages are identical, if not similar, because just some of the differences are just not using some parentheses or something.
Yeah,
but the idea behind the programming is very similar.
Yeah, it's just a matter of syntax, but like the way of thinking, it's the same within like all like the different programs you'd be using, like different languages too.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to teach my daughters or other students in MATLAB. So because I have books many years ago. So I'm thinking because that one is really very, very useful and commonly used in engineering school. So it's very useful.
Yes.
So if you take statistics,
right.
AP course, so which kind of software?
You generally don't use programming in either, like, you don't really use programming in the AT courses.
But just
just
fundamental skills.
Yeah.
No lot of calculations.
I don't think you use MATLAB for AP statistics.
Oh no. Only programming in high school, like for AP classes, is the computer science class, and that's in Java. So. But again, it's pretty much all the same. It's just like your way of thinking, like just how you form algorithms.
But MATLAB is kind of different.
Well, it's different, but it's the same idea.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you so much. And,
Hi, my name is Mizu. My son just went to the competition this afternoon when the parents stay in the conference room to hear the college student introduce their experience with college life and how they get admitted to the University of Michigan. I think this session is really well prepared, lots of good information, especially the good information from the student perspective, introduce how they prepare for their college admission in high school, not just the academic experience, but also sports, leadership, and the AP class, AC class, and whether they prepare for the computer class, programming class, all the good information. The students are very prepared. As a parent, I feel I learned a lot today. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Lee, and I'm the National Math and Science Competition Chair for the Michigan chapter of the Korean American Scientists and Engineers Association. Today we are hosting the Math and Science competition here. We're very happy to have over 30 students here from grades 4 to 11. And this is our first time that the Michigan chapter is hosting the math competition. And we have also a parallel parents college information session that they can ask about applying to Michigan and other colleges. And then we also have some inspirational videos about engineering, robotics, and things like that for the students, which I think is very important for them to learn the importance of math and science early on, especially in their elementary to junior high school years. So we're very happy to host this, and we're hoping to grow for next year and also award bigger prizes next year as well. And finally, once the top scores of the Michigan chapter event will then go on to be eligible for the national top score per grade as well, and they will be honored by the headquarters of KSEA in Washington, D.C.
예, 오늘 행사는 그 재미과학자협회에서 주최하는 그 수학 경시대회인데요. 사실은 이 대회는 그 다른 지역에서는 쭉 해왔습니다. 근데 미시간에서는 지금까지 그 하지 못하고 있다가 이번에 또 그 유니버시티 미시간에서 그 새로 그 협회를 만들고 그러면서 이 다시 행사를 시작하게 됐습니다. 그래서 금년에는 저희가 준비가 좀 늦어져가지고 많은 학생이 참여 못한 것 같은데 아마 내년부터는 좀 더 많은 학생들이 참여해서 보다 성대하게 그다음에 많은 학생들한테 기회가 줄 수 있는 그런 대회로 크게 벗어날 것 같습니다. 예, 감사합니다.
Beginning with the 11th grade, the winner is Hakhyun Kim. Grade, the third place winner is Jiwoo Kim. The second place for 10th grade is Kyungyun Lee. And our first place winner for 10th grade is Taehyun An. Moving on to 8th grade, our third place winner is Mingi Kim and Kevin Shin. Our second place winner for 8th grade is Sebin Choi. And our first place winner for 8th grade is Suyeon Lee. Moving on to 7th grade, our third place winner is Grace Zhang. Our second place winner is Kevin Tan. And our first place winner for 7th grade is Tong Soo Thai. For 6th grade, our third place winner is Jiwon Kim. Our second place winner for 6th grade is Tian Yao or Thomas Chen. And our first place winner for 6th grade is Kelly Fan. For 5th grade, our third place winner is Alan Wu. We have 2 second place winners, James Chu and Derek Zhu. And our first place winner for 5th grade is Alan Zhu. Our third place winner for 4th grade is Amy Zhu. Second place is Brian Wu. And our first place winner for 4th grade is Michael Zhu. All of the participants received a USB. Thank you so much for participating.
1, 2, 3. All right.
Congratulations to all of our participants. If you could please grab a USB.
So, what did you think about this competition?
It was very fun. I liked the questions.
So, what grade are you in?
I am in 4th grade.
And what did you win?
I won an iPod Shuffle.
What place did you end in?
I had first place.
All right. Congratulations, Michael. So, what's your name?
Alan,
And what place did you end in?
first place.
All right. And how did you feel about this competition?
I think it was pretty fun, I guess.
All right. So, yeah, thanks for participating.
You're welcome.
So, what's your name?
Kelly,
And what grade are you in?
6th.
And you won first prize, right?
Yeah.
All right. What did you think about this competition?
It was hard, but it felt good to win, I guess.
Yeah. Congratulations for winning.
Thank you.
바로 갈찬 방송 뉴스 포인트는 미시간 코리안 타임스 웹사이트 mktimes.com, mktimes.com으로 가시면 다시 보실 수 있습니다. 여러분의 많은 시청 바랍니다. 저는 다음 시간에 다시 뵙겠습니다.